Hey guys, just thought I'd give you another update. Well, we got the frame is power washed and cleaned inside and out. So I started pulling this thing apart tonight to figure out exactly what I'm going to need parts, and all I'm going to say is, fuck! It's not that bad. Well, it's to be expected, let's just put it that way. Good news is I can use those brake rotors again. There's nothing wrong with them. The emergency brake shoes look to be alright, but the emergency brake cables are NFG. They are C's tighter than you know what. Other than that, that's pretty much all the back end. I'm going to put new pads on and stuff like that, but the calipers, looks like somebody just changed them just maybe a year ago because they slid back pretty easy when I decompressed them. But the front end is a different story. It's actually not as bad as you think. I need a left upper ball joint, pretty much on that side, and the biggest expense here is going to be on this side, because this wheel bearing is junk. It needs this side here, the ball joints actually they're okay, they're fine. I need a tie rod end on this side too. There's a little bit, check that out, shine right in there. There's what you call a bad wheel bearing. But yeah, it's not all that bad. Brakes in the front are going to require rotors on both sides, pads on both sides, brake lines all throughout, and the rest I think I can harvest off the other truck as the emergency brake cables and all of that happy horse shit. But yeah, so basically there's your update, guys. I got the washers tonight. I got to take them into the welding shop tomorrow to have the centers cut out for this diameter here, so they sit in here, and then I'll weld them on. I'm actually going to bring this, I'm going to give it a little bit of a body lift. I'm going to bring it up maybe 3/8 of an inch, which isn't a lot, but enough, because I am actually going to give this thing a suspension lift, because a buddy of mine was in here. Well, I had actually two friends in here today. Tom was one of them, and me and Tom's actually an awesome four-wheel drive guy. This guy knows more shit. He come in here and said what the tranny was, what the engine was, what transfer case I had, and what was good, what was not. And thanks, Tom. I appreciate that, buddy. I know. And the first thing he said, he come in and he looked at the frame and went, wow. He says he couldn't believe the shape of this frame. He was just, he says normally these frames in this year from, what was it, 99 to 2006 or something like that? Yeah. And I already knew where the bad points were on these frames, but he actually came in, and this guy's a four-wheel drive guy. He knows his shit, and he takes his vehicles into some pretty rugged territory, and that's all he has is Chevy. And he come in here this afternoon and looked at this frame over, and he could not believe the shape of it. He says that's very, very rare that you see a frame in this kind of shape, and that was after I had power washed it and cleaned it up. But yeah, there's a few things that have unexpected. I kind of oops today. Well, somebody's already repaired that once, so I'm actually going to get a new, I think I'm going to change that O2 on that side. That's the upstream, that's the downstream. The thing is with these damn things is they're twin catalytic converter on either side. It's actually kind of interesting, but you know, well, if we didn't have the emissions and stuff up here, we wouldn't have to worry too much about it. But we do have emissions control here, and they are pretty picky. So I even cleaned up the engine a little bit and put my degreaser on it and cleaned up all the valve housing on the transmission. And to my amazement, when I was taking the cab off of off this truck, I actually found a bill of sale that was not last year, but the year before, the tranny was done. This transmission was rebuilt in 2014. Yes, 2014. It was in September of that year that this tranny was built. And basically, when you pull the tranny like that, it's just beautiful red. But that don't mean shit, really, to be honest with you. And another thing that Tommy made a suggestion, he actually, I didn't even have to tell him, he just come in here and did the first thing. He walked straight up here, opened up the coolant reservoir and looked in. He says, cool, no decks cool. That's a lot of, he says they can take out head gaskets and stuff like that. Well, I knew there was a problem with decks cool, but some guys will argue that point, but it is what it is. But other than that, guys, that is pretty much what we're going to need for the front end on this thing. Like I said, just pulled her basically apart tonight, but ball joints this side are okay. That needs an upper left ball joint. Brake rotors in the front, new pads. The pads on the back are fine. The new calipers, the emergency brake shoes are fine. It's just shit that you expect when you get into a build like this. It's minor shit. And the only other thing is I actually went to GM today and I ordered all the factory OEM brake lines. And somebody actually has made all these up. And yes, it will work. But the factory OEM ones are actually plastic coated and they're already pre-bent. So I'm going to replace all them, and I'm also going to do the fuel lines too while I'm at it. So I got to go into my parts guy tomorrow, and I got a list, not too long, but long enough. But yeah. And another thing, guys, too, when you guys are buying brake rotors and shit like that, the best brake rotors that I find, you get the ones with the grooves and shit in them. They're not worth a fiddler's shit. Because once they get a little bit of heat, they warp immediately. I like the Napa or the Delco. The Delco rotors actually are great. And the Delco brake pads, the towing ones, are fantastic. I actually got a set of Delco pads for my Dodge. And my complaint with the other ones that I was getting, it was leaving a lot of black dust all over my rims, and that shit would get on my rims, and I'd have a hell of a time trying to get it off. The only way I could get it off is this stuff here. And if anybody is looking for an awesome cleaner, well, this is an awesome cleaner. It's fucking awesome. Awesome. And this stuff is, well, basically, it's LA is totally awesome. This stuff actually, my cousin actually got me into this stuff because I basically said he was full of shit. I've never seen a degreaser, a spot remover, and it's non-acid, no ammonia, no bleaches, and it's non-flammable. This stuff will clean stuff that you would not believe. Even my landlord here at the farm, he was looking for a cleaner and to clean some of his tractor cabs and stuff like that. So I said, here, Hugh, try this stuff. And I just actually ordered him a case of it. He couldn't believe it. So there you go, farmers. Totally awesome. The best cleaner you are ever going to get, I shit you not. Try it. You'll thank me. And it's cheap. The dollar store, the Dollar Tree. And it's $1.50. And as seen on TV, a lot of guys say, oh, well, I was very, very skeptical, but since I've started using it, like I clean boat interior and everything, this stuff will take off anything. And that's what I basically degreased this engine with. I just basically sprayed it on, all of this, because this is just caked in shit. Sprayed it on, let it sit for 15 minutes, power washed it right off, cleaned it right off. Like this one here was all encased in oil and shit and dirt. And I just basically sprayed this stuff on, and away you go. So there's a product for you guys. Totally awesome. You're never going to find a better cleaner than this, and I will guarantee you that. If not, bring it here and I'll buy it from you. I'm not kidding. But anyways, just a few updates. Totally awesome. An awesome cleaner. Try it. And other than that, this is part 6. Well, I'm going to say part 5.5. Because really, this is what we call exploratory surgery tonight. To figure out exactly how many thousands this is going to cost me. And to be honest with you, I'll probably look at maybe $400 or $500 in parts. And then my buddy to come in and do the brake lines and shit, and I'll do the rest of it. I'm not saying that I can't do brakes and stuff like that, it's just that up here in Canada, insurance companies are very, very sticky on that shit, and especially when you get a commercial vehicle in a commercial business like this. You do it yourself and something happens, you're in an accident, they'll just shove it up your ass and ask questions later. Well, the only question they're going to ask you is, why were you doing it? You're not licensed for this stuff. It's a big thing up here. You've got to be licensed. If it's your own personal stuff, great. But if you're using it for business, it's a different story, because the insurance company will just say, screw you, too bad. You did it. You didn't have a licensed guy do it. To hell with you. And then you're stuck. And I don't need to go down that road. But other than that, that's about it. And big thanks to Tom today. Thank you very much, bud. You can drop in anytime. Awesome guy. God, the guy's knowledgeable. Like, I couldn't believe it. Oh, yeah, that's that. Yeah, oh, shit. But he's even looking for some parts for me. But I think we're going to give this thing a little bit of a lift kit. But we're going to have to hide that from Grandpa Bud. He finds out, he might just get shot. But, oh well. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, please comment, rate, and subscribe. We'll talk to you again. Cheers.